Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, crack them open, and pull out the absolute best insights.
Yeah.
Today, we're plunging into something I think is super relevant for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How to start genuinely earning through part-time gigs using just the free time you already have.
That's right. We've been looking closely at material that really digs into this, and the mission for this deep dive, well, it goes beyond just finding a quick side hustle.
Okay.
We're here to extract the key takeaways on how exploring these part-time opportunities is really a path to discovering earning avenues, sure, but maybe more importantly, understanding your own strengths, figuring out what you actually like doing, and ultimately finding your own unique earning niche.
Okay, let's unpack this because the core idea from the source material sounds really interesting. It's about looking at those bits of free time, evenings, weekends, maybe just an hour here or there.
Right, the pockets of time.
Exactly. Not seeing them as just downtime, but as potential assets. Using that time kind of strategically for building skills, meeting people, and bringing in some income.
And what's really insightful from the source is how it frames these part-time gigs. Because they are flexible, low commitment, compared to a full-time job.
Right.
The source compares it to sampling dishes at a huge buffet. You get to try a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
without committing to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that approach is, well, it's absolutely key for real exploration.
I like that analogy. A buffet. It makes it feel less daunting, more about discovery.
Yeah.
So if we're walking up to this buffet, where does the source say we should even start? Like not just jumping onto job apps straight away.
No, definitely not. The material is really clear on this. Before you look outwards, you got to look inwards.
Okay.
The first critical step, according to the source, is basically a self-assessment, understanding what it calls your free time assets. And the insight here is that these assets might not be what you immediately think of.
Okay. Free time assets.
Yeah.
What exactly does the source mean by that? Are we just talking about like skills from my day job?
It's broader than that, actually. The source suggests thinking about a few specific areas. First, your hobbies.
Hobbies.
Yeah. What are you genuinely good at and enjoy doing when you're not working? Writing, photography, maybe you're super organized, or you love gardening, play an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
The insight is that skills we develop just for fun can often be really valuable to other people. Don't underestimate the fun stuff,
So things I do for leisure could actually be like starting capital. That's a different way to look at it.
Exactly. Then yes, definitely consider your existing professional skills, data entry, social media, customer service, design, tutoring, whatever it is.
Right.
But the source points out that doing those same skills in a different context, maybe for a different client, on a freelance platform, on your own schedule, it can feel totally new. It can show you different sides of what you can do.
That's a great point. Using a skill I already have, but in a fresh way, might make it feel less like, well, my day job.
Precisely. And finally, the source says, look at your practical resources. Do you have a car you could use sometimes? A quiet space for online work? Maybe specific tools or equipment for a craft or service?
Ah, the physical stuff.
Yeah, those physical assets are just as important as skills and hobbies, according to the material.
So it's a mix. What you love, what you know from work, and what tools or things you have access to. And the main point of this first stage is realizing you probably have more assets than you think, especially outside your normal job title.
Exactly right. And the source really stresses being honest here.
Yeah.
The better you understand what you truly enjoy and are good at, the better the chance that the part-time work you pick will feel less like a chore and more, well, rewarding. It helps you choose the right starting dishes from that buffet.
All right. Okay. So you've done the inner work. You've got a clearer picture of your unique free time assets. Now you're ready to look at the actual options, the buffet itself. How does the source suggest navigating just the sheer number of possibilities out there?
Right. This brings us to exploring the landscape. And the material emphasizes just how huge the world of part-time and gig work really is. It covers both online stuff and, local opportunities. It breaks down the search areas pretty neatly. So on the online side, you've got the big freelancing marketplaces everyone knows, like Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com.
Yeah. Most people have heard of those. For creative stuff, professional services, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Writing, design, virtual assistants, web development. But the source doesn't just list them. It sort of implies you should think about these platforms in terms of niches.
Niches.
Yeah, and how your specific assets fit in. Is your skill pretty general, or is it something really specialized that might guide you to which platform or even which part of a platform is the best fit?
Ah, so it's not just I'll go on Upwork, but more like I'll go on Upwork looking for this specific type of writing gig that matches my hobby.
Exactly. That's the deeper thinking. Then you have the platform-specific services. Delivery, like Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon Flex. Ride-sharing like Uber or Ola if driving works for you. Task-based apps are another category. Think TaskRabbit or Urban Company for local services, handyman stuff, cleaning. And if you have academic expertise, tutoring platforms like Chegg, TutorMe, Vedantu.
Right. And what about those sites like Mechanical Turk, the ones that pay tiny amounts?
Yeah, the source mentions those too. It notes they're less about making big money and maybe more about just getting your feet wet with online work formats, understanding how it all works, perhaps.
Okay.
But crucially, it's not all digital. The source gives equal weight to local opportunities.
Like literally walking into the local coffee shop and asking if they need help.
Pretty much. But also thinking beyond that, the source points out that local businesses, shops, restaurants, small offices often need flexible help, but don't always advertise online.
Right.
So yeah, walking in, checking actual notice boards, just looking for those simple help wanted signs can turn things up.
Old school methods. I like it. Bit of detective work.
And community networks are huge. Local Facebook groups, WhatsApp chats, neighborhood forums. People often post directly there when they need help with pet sitting, babysitting, gardening, small odd jobs within their local circle.
That makes sense. People trust recommendations within their community.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's just telling people you know.
Networking.
Simple networking. Telling friends, family, former colleagues you're looking for some part-time stuff. The source really highlights how some of the best, most unexpected gigs pop up through word of mouth. So the hidden insight there is that your existing social network is also a kind of free time asset.
That's smart. So the main point for this exploring phase isn't just where to look, but to look widely, online and offline, and think carefully about how your specific assets might fit into these different places.
Absolutely. Cast a wide net at first, but always with an eye on where your self-assessment pointed you.
Okay, makes sense. So you've assessed your assets, you've checked out the landscape of potential gigs. Now comes what the source says is the most important part.
Yeah, this is the experimentation phase. Step 3. Or maybe think of it as the engine driving this whole discovery process.
The engine, okay.
Material is super clear here. The aim is not to find your forever gig right away. It's to try different things, to see how they actually feel in practice. It's the active sampling at the buffet.
So it's really learning by doing, getting your hands dirty.
Exactly. And the source advises starting small, take on manageable tasks, short-term projects. That minimizes the risk if it turns out it's not a good fit, or if you just plain don't enjoy it, which, by the way, is a good outcome in this phase.
Wait, finding out you don't like something is a win. That feels wrong.
According to the source, it's absolutely a win. The value is in the information you get. Because while you're doing these gigs, the source gives you a set of really insightful questions to keep asking yourself. These are the real learning tools.
Okay, what kind of questions are we talking about?
They're simple but quite deep, actually. Like, do I genuinely enjoy doing this work? Not just can I do it, but is there any spark? Does it feel fulfilling, or is it just a chore? That gets at the satisfaction level. Then more practically, am I reasonably good at this? And could I get better? Is the pay actually worth the time and effort I'm putting in?
Those really force you to look beyond just the money, don't they?
They really do. And 2 more really important ones, the source flags. Does this work align with my values, or maybe any long-term goals I have? And maybe the most telling one, does this work energize me, or does it leave me feeling drained? Pay attention to how you feel after you finish the work.
Ooh, that last one is powerful. Work that drains you just isn't sustainable, is it? Even if the money seems okay at first.
Exactly. The source stresses using the answers to these questions to learn and adapt. Maybe you tried food delivery thinking it'd be flexible, but you find the stress of rushing around and dealing with restaurant delays just drains you. That's valuable info.
Okay.
It tells you maybe you'd prefer something calmer or something that uses your brain in a different way.
So a so-called failed experiment is actually just steering you towards a better fit next time.
Precisely. It helps you refine your search. The source even suggests keeping track of this process, like a simple journal or even just notes on your phone.
What kind of notes?
What gigs you tried, what you liked, what you definitely didn't like, what you learned about yourself, any skills you noticed you were using or even developing.
Like a field journal for your personal buffet exploration.
Kind of like that, yeah. It helps you spot patterns over time, see how your thinking is evolving, and really sharpen your understanding of what genuinely works for you. The source keeps coming back to this. The main goal here is self-discovery.
Right.
Every gig, whether it feels like a success or not, is just a clue. It's leading you closer to understanding your unique potential and what truly satisfies you. It's not just about finding a job, it's about finding yourself through work.
Wow, that really reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? It sounds like this experimentation phase is where you collect all the raw materials to build something more permanent later on.
It absolutely is. And while you're going through this, you're not just earning a bit of money or figuring out what you like. You're actively building valuable assets that go way beyond the immediate cash.
Ah, okay, the building blocks for the future. So what does the source say you actually gain from all this exploring and experimenting?
Well, the material points to several really key gains. First off, skills development. Big time.
Okay.
Every task, every client interaction, it sharpens your skills. We're talking essential transferable skills, communication, time management, problem solving, maybe even negotiation, resilience, things you can use anywhere. But you also pick up specific technical skills related to the gigs you try. These are real assets you carry forward no matter what you do next.
They boost your overall value, basically.
Absolutely. Second, networking. Every client you work with, every other freelancer you might meet, every local business owner you chat with, they're all potential connections.
Right.
The source suggests these connections can lead to totally unexpected future gigs, maybe collaborations, even finding a mentor down the road. You're kind of building this professional web piece by piece through action.
Yeah, like building a contact list organically, just by doing things.
Exactly. Third, financial literacy. This is a big one. Managing multiple small income streams, tracking expenses related to different gigs, really getting a feel for what your time is worth in different situations. That's a practical, real-world financial education. It's incredibly helpful for managing your money overall, not just the gig money.
Learning the actual mechanics of earning and budgeting outside of just one salary.
Yes. And finally, and maybe this is the most profound one, confidence. Successfully taking the initiative, completing different kinds of tasks, dealing with different people, and actually earning money through your own efforts, that builds tremendous confidence in what you can do. It creates this really powerful sense of self-sufficiency.
That makes total sense. There's a unique kind of satisfaction that comes from earning your own way, especially by using your own time and your own skills like that.
There really is. It's quite empowering.
So if we pull all this together, the material we looked at basically presents, starting with part-time gigs in your free time, as this really effective, low-risk way
to achieve those key things. Exploring different ways to earn, yes, but also understanding what kind of work truly motivates and satisfies you, and building a solid foundation for a more adaptable and hopefully stronger financial future.
It frames it less like just get a side hustle and more like this deliberate adventure of self-discovery, where every single gig, good or bad, is like a vital clue about your own potential.
Exactly. And the closing encouragement from the source is really practical and I think quite powerful. It basically says, don't wait for the perfect idea or until you have loads of free time. Start with what you have right where you are. Even if you just dedicate an hour or two here and there consistently, that can open doors and show you possibilities you might never have even thought of otherwise. The real key is just to begin the exploration.
Start small, but definitely start. It sounds like the most valuable thing you get back isn't just the cash earned, but the knowledge about yourself and the skills you build up while doing it.
That's precisely the core message.
Okay, let's just sit with that for a second. You've gone through this whole process. You've looked inward. You've explored the buffet. You've started sampling. You're learning. Now consider this final thought. What if the most exciting dish you end up discovering, the thing that truly lights you up, and could maybe even change your whole career path? What if it's something you weren't even looking for when you started? The unexpected talents, the hidden passions that you only uncover through the pure act of trying things out. Maybe that's the ultimate prize waiting in this exploration.